Hello, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar faces and a lot of new ones. So those of you who are new, please take a moment afterwards to introduce yourself. We'd love to meet you and get to know you as well. I am Nayaswami Maria, and this is Nayaswami Ananta, and we currently reside at Ananta Village. And we've been out and about the last week. We were in Dallas last weekend, and we're on our way back to the village, and we're here in between, so it's our joy. Our topic this morning is one that is, over the years, very endearing. I think it's one of the most endearing passages in the Bible because it honors us for who we are on a soul level in God. And whatever has gone before, whatever has gone awry, whatever blunders we've made, and certainly there have been many over the incarnations, this reading highlights the most important thing. God loves us, and we are His child no matter what. And yet there's an aspect here that I felt to give emphasis to, and I'll speak a little bit and then Ananta. And this is that aspect of coming home spiritually. This reading is about welcoming, the stray one, the rebel bird that we hear of and celebrate in our Festival of Light. This coming home and coming home to divine awareness is what it means on a deeper level, on the deepest level. We go out, we come back. We go out, we come back. And the Leela, the divine play, goes on. And that takes place within us on a spiritual level, takes place in the inner spine, the energy moving up toward the divine light, the energy drawn into material consciousness. This is very primal. It's at the beginning of time when we manifested as a soul. And it expresses within us. We want God. Of course we want the light. Of course we want to live in truth. Of course we want to live in harmony. Of course we want to realize the self. And then there's this other part of us that either gets discouraged or just merely distracted from that goal. And there's just this pull. It's going on all the time, sometimes more in one direction than the other, and sometimes just stagnant. And so this coming home is especially about coming home spiritually. And we do this many times. We do this countless times, even in a given day. 1 minute we're on it, and the next minute we're way over there and, in some far-off wonderland, detour. And this happens repeatedly. It made me think of my mother whenever she traveled a lot, and whenever she'd come home, it was, it's so good to be home and sleep in my own bed, And we can get like that. We have a deep spiritual experience, we have a really good meditation, maybe a really great seclusion, and it's kind of like, things are going well, this feels good. And then that passivity creeps in a little bit. Everything seems to be okay, all the boiling pots are covered, the lid's not flying off, and we just sort of relax a little bit. And this reading is about coming home spiritually and coming home, having that impetus to keep moving towards home. I had a dream recently, and Swami Kriyananda was in the dream, and he was sitting there in a very relaxed, state, and he just simply said, "Come visit me." And I thought, wow, it just struck me as interesting in the dream, and I thought, well, I knew Swami isn't in the body, but I thought, is he in Sacramento? Is he talking about Assisi? Does he want me to come to Assisi? And I'm trying to figure this out mentally, what is going on here? And then I woke up and I thought, okay, come visit me. come into that consciousness. I don't know what realms I was roaming around in, but he knew. He knew, and he was just saying, come visit me. Come visit this state of consciousness. Come home. Stop doodling around out there. Come home. And it's so important for the devotee to exercise that, to really take that deeply, because we all know there are so many ways that we are distracted. There are so many things that we are influenced by. The world, the dream is full of it. And we need to keep coming home. We need to stay focused on what this is all about, what this incarnation is about, what my life is about. Why did I choose this time? Why did I choose this environment? Why did I come to Sunday service today? To be reminded, and it takes a lot of reminders, we know that, to come home spiritually and to put the energy behind our actions to make that happen. Yogananda's father, one time it was Yogananda Yukteswar and Yogananda's father Bhagavati, and Yukteswar said to Bhagavati, who is also a disciple of Lahiri's, and he said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Look at your son. Look at your son. He's soaring in God. What are you doing?" Very powerful. And when you read about Yogananda's father's life, there were certainly many things that Yogananda shares of just his spiritual depth, the energy he put behind living a very austere life. And by that I mean centered in God, most especially. And here is Yukteswar saying to him, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Your son is soaring in God." And so that's the opportunity, what we need to make an opportunity, embrace as an opportunity as much as we can, all of the time. There is an instance in the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata, and all of the young men at a young age, they've been trained in battle, and it's inevitable, it's on the horizon. And one day they're showing off their skill. There's a contest to show who is best, and in this case in archery. And numerous contestants come forward, and they're instructed to look far afield, and the image of an eagle has been carved out and placed on a high pole, and they are to take aim at that image and shoot at the eye of the eagle. And so the master of archery, who has assembled, he's there assembled with the contestants, and he's instructing them. And he one at a time, they come up and they look, and he asks them, "What do you see? What do you see?" "Well, I see the sky, I see the trees, I see the eagle." That's it. Step aside. Doesn't get to shoot. The next one comes up. "What do you see?" "I see the eagle. I see his wings, his full body. He's beautiful, beautiful." Asks him to step aside. He can't shoot. Finally, this happens many times, and Arjuna, one of the great brothers on the side of goodness of the Pandavas, is brought up, and he comes up. And Dronacharya asks him, "What do you see?" And Arjuna says, "I see the eye of the eagle." And then his teacher says, "Shoot." Because he knows with that focus, with that pure focused intent, he's going to be able to take aim and hit the object that he's concentrating upon. So for us to hold our concentration, like this chant, "I want only thee, Lord." We live lives of diversity. We live colorful lives. It's a beautiful life. It's not meant that we negate it or put it down or focus on all that is going wrong. Here we are. But to keep that focus on the divine goal. We cannot do enough. Gyanamata, in one of her letters, she was the foremost woman disciple in Yogananda's time while he was living. And she wrote him a note of appreciation. And at the end she said, not enough, not enough. Just giving her thanks, giving her love, because what we've been given is so beautiful, is so beyond words. And we cannot give enough, and yet we have to try to do just that. Give to that light we are seeking, give to that love we are experiencing that's always there, no matter what we've done, what shortcomings we have, to just keep moving that energy forward and stay focused on the goal. I came across a story recently that Yogananda shared, and he said that, he traveled around the country a lot, lecturing for a certain period of time, building the work, building the opportunity to reach and serve people and aid in their spiritual quest. And this one time he was on a train, and he saw this man sitting by himself, and he was playing cards and drinking. And Yogananda, he could see what was there on all levels, the good and the not so good. But something attracted him to that individual. And so Yogananda just walked up and down the aisle a few times. And that was all it took. The man bit the bait. And he said, "Can I talk to you?" And Yogananda said, "Yes." And they went into this compartment on the train and spent quite a bit of time there. And this man, in talking to Yogananda, he came around to the place where he was able to relinquish his evil ways and make a real change in his life. And sometime after that, Yogananda was in another state altogether. Now it was Kansas. And he went up to speak, and this man introduced him and introduced Yogananda, this very same man. And he said, "That was the most significant hour I have experienced in my life." That singular contact, it changed his life. It shifted his awareness to that divine pole star, and he locked in. And that's what we need to continue to grab a hold of in our own life, that coming home, however we can get it, however we can get that spiritually. What a blessing to be around other devotees. What a blessing to be around other lovers of God. What a blessing to be able to come together in a setting like this and be able to draw deeply, very deeply. And we want to fill our lives with those moments so that it's not just 1 year, it's not just a memory that occurred some time ago, but it's right here, right now. We can come home to that consciousness. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I would also like to just thank all of you for coming. It's wonderful. We do this every day. We try and think of some way that we can get people to share the joys of spirit and satsang, and we scored today. Here we all are. So good. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We, like the prodigal son, as Maria was saying, we leave this consciousness of the divine, which is our home, And we go out, and Swami didn't fill in the blanks. He ended up eating food with the pigs and going, hey, I can do better than this. Dad's at home, and he's got the fatted vegetarian meat substitute calf. And I'm going home, and I'm going to be there. And then, like Maria said, we go home, but there's a conscious force that's pulling us out. There's Maya is the word we use in Sanskrit. It's the delusive force, and it pulls us away from home. Why would you ever leave home? You've got your family's there. You got the robe, and you got the ring, and the whole bit's happening. Why would you go back? We go back because we forget. We forget to stay in the center of the joy. And what we have to do, because all of us have to go to work tomorrow, is we have to bring the joy with us and stay in the center. Not in this center, we have to stay in our center and take our center to work and to relationships and to the business at hand, whatever it is. And there's of course, this is a great week. This is Thanksgiving week. So we get a pass on Thursday, and the whole world, well, at least the United States, is going to turn to thank you, God. Thank you for all we've been given. I mean, it's amazing. Okay, there was a fire in paradise. 26,000 people had to clean out. But right now, the death toll is 71. Wait a minute, there's 10,000 homes, and we evacuated them in the middle of the night, and we have 71 dead? Wait a minute, Divine Mother, what's going on here? The same was true in Santa Rosa. There's the divine blessing in the midst of worldly tragedy. That's the reality. We have to live in the divine blessing. We have to live in that consciousness. Paramahansa Yogananda described the state of samadhi in a poem that he entitled Samadhi, but he described what is his state. What is the Buddha's state? What's Christ's state? What is the state of the Master? What is Samadhi? And one line that I'd like to bring to you this morning is enjoyable beyond imagination of expectancy. That's what he said Samadhi is. So you can imagine the fatted calf and the ring and the coat. That's not enough. Enjoyable beyond imagination of expectancy. Imagine the best thing, and divine consciousness is better than that. Kriyananda would talk about divine consciousness, and he always seemed to me like he was dangling it, but sort of like, come on, you got to do a little bit of work to get there. What do we have to do? By deeper, longer, thirsty, guru-given meditation comes the celestial samadhi. We have to do our part, and we have to commit ourselves to a life lived in God's joy. And the temptation of worldly life is to settle for worldly happiness, for some aspect of that. And it's okay. It's better than, concentrating on sorrow or sadness or guilt. I mean, the kid could have come back and felt guilty. Oh, I'm not worthy to come back. And the dad said, no, you are worthy. You live here. You belong here. We belong in joy. We belong in samadhi. But we have to put out the effort. We have to try. And many of us here have been here basically our whole lives. Right, Prem? Yeah, right, Hara? Okay, yeah. They were in my Sunday school, 40 or 50 years ago. And so we're trying, but we're getting closer. Enjoyable beyond imagination of expectancy. Keep your eye on the prize. Divine consciousness. On the ability to love. That's what we look to the Masters for. Could Master love? Could Master forgive? Could Christ forgive? So he's on the cross, and he's crucified, and he says, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. We can do that. We can live like that. It's not easy. It doesn't come the first day of your spiritual practice, but enjoyable beyond imagination of expectancy. Focus on the state of the masters, all the masters. If you're new to this Sangha, you just walked in the door, relax, all paths lead to one truth. You're good. The Buddha's Samadhi is Master Samadhi, is Christ's Samadhi. It's all one place, and it's a place in the heart where we realize that we are made of love. That's the reality. We have to focus on it. We have to celebrate it on Thursday. We have to meditate. We have to meditate with joy. We have to, you can imagine it. Master didn't say, don't imagine it. You can imagine it, but it's better than the best imagination you have. And Swami told us that, and we saw it, and we all, those of us who have been meditating, realize, yeah, it's better. It's better than anything we imagined. And it keeps getting better because we can come closer. And what disappears is this, the foreign lands stuff. This idea that this is normal. That anger and fear, that you just have to live with fear. Swami wrote a song, I Live Without Fear. Drop it. Move past it and keep your eye on the masters. But beyond that, don't just worship them and admire them. Realize you are a master. You're just like they are. You have that capacity to love heroically. You have that capacity to drop the fear and drop the self-definition that has you as a fearful person, a worried person, a scared person, a poor person, a whatever it is. Drop it. Because it's not reality. That's what the child was supposed to remember when he came home, was that the foreign lands are not the abode of his homeland. They are foreign lands. And fear and suffering and smallness and all the evils of our society and of all time, and they're the same evils. It's the same stuff. And the masters are the same also. And you have to experience God more each day, and that's why you meditate, is because it gets better. The spiritual path is difficult at first and then effortlessly liberating. If it hasn't been effortlessly liberating for you yet, drop that part of it and beyond imagination of expectancy. Live in that joy. Meditate with joy. Practice a little more. Practice in a new way. If you're a disciple of Yogananda, practice the techniques of Kriya. Hongsa, energization, Om, Kriya. If you're a disciple of the Buddha, Om Mani Padme Hum, over and over. Go into it. If you're a Sufi, dance. I guess you can't dance in the smoke, but by Wednesday you can Sufi dance to your heart's content. It's all going to rain. It's going to be great. One small note. Do you realize that on Wednesday, if Divine Mother makes it rains, all the smoke is gone in 1 second? And we can't do anything about it because we don't have very much power, because we live in these foreign lands, and we got to get home and tune in to the joy that is God. Share that joy. Come to this Sangha. Thank you for coming today. Thursday, let's celebrate with thanksgiving all that we've been given. And one thing I will celebrate is all of you. God bless you for trying to keep that joy alive. That's all we've come for. That's all Yogananda came for, is just to share the joy that you are a part of all that is. God bless you.
Let's just center in on this joy for a moment of the heart, bringing it up to the spiritual eye. And we'll have now our offering together. Divine Mother, we offer to Thee the fruit of our labors, and serve to spread Thy message of self-realization to truth-seeking souls everywhere. Om. Peace.
going to visit Swami Kriyananda's consciousness today in a sonata he wrote entitled Divine Romance. This is the third movement.